Over the past 2,000 years, the leading international currency has changed many times, from the Roman denarius to the Dutch guilders, then to the sterling. Meaning, this currency is dominantly used in international trades and financial transactions. The dollar has been the dominant reserve currency for more than 70 years now, since the end of World War II, especially so after the fall of Soviet Union. As the world reserves currency, the United States dollar is essentially the default currency in international trade. Because of that, every central bank, treasury, and major firms across the world keeps a large portion of their foreign exchange holdings in US dollars. Any nation around the world that wants to participate in international trade needs to hold US dollar in its foreign reserve in order to trade via the SWIFT system. The Russia sanctions had led to subsequent macro events which can dethrone the petrodollar. Throughout the video, we will dive deep into the origin, growth, and transition of petrodollar. How does it lose significance and strength towards a new reserve currency worldwide? Are we up to something in accordance with the biblical prophecy? How shall we take actions on this? Petrodollar refers to the system where oil-producing countries, particularly those in the Middle East, sell their oil in US dollars. As a result, these countries receive large amounts of US dollars, which they can then use to purchase goods and services from other countries. This system has helped to maintain the dominance of the US dollar as the global reserve currency and has also given the United States significant geopolitical power and influence. But the question is, what is the origin of the petrodollar? Why was the petrodollar being introduced?
Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
In 1971, under President Nixon, the US officially ended the convertibility of the US dollar into gold. This meant that 35 US dollar was no longer redeemable for 1 ounce of gold. This move is known as the Nixon shock, which led to a decline in the value of the US dollar and created economic uncertainty around the world. To stabilize the value of the US dollar, the US government made a deal with Saudi Arabia, the largest oil-producing country in the world at the time. This is the OPEC deal. The deal involved Saudi Arabia agreeing to sell its oil exclusively in US dollars, and in return, the US provided military support and protection to Saudi Arabia. Other oil-producing countries in the Middle East soon followed suit, and the petrodollar system was born. On February 14, 1945, in fear of an oil shortage, a secret wartime meeting was held between Franklin D. Roosevelt and Abdul Aziz ibn Saud, the King of Saudi Arabia. This encounter laid the foundation for US-Saudi relations in generations to come, and not just ensure that the US has continual access to Saudi Arabia's oil, but this arms and security for oil relationship was further solidified in 1974 after the OPEC deal was signed. The agreement struck with OPEC to price oil in dollars had equipped the dollar with great artificial strength as the global reserve currency, even at the face of Nixon shock. As nations around the world would need oil for energy generation and other uses, this had created a universal demand for the dollar and took up a huge number of dollars generated each year. A top Russian official has reportedly claimed that the countries of the BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are working on creating their own currency. Several other countries have expressed interest in joining the economic bloc, including Argentina, Iran, Indonesia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. They seek to strengthen their financial position and increase their influence on the global stage while reducing the impact from inflation. Central banks have reported net purchases of 125 tonne on a year-to-date basis. This is the strongest start to a year back at least 2010, when central banks became net buyers on an annual basis. Russia recently just added 31.1 tonnes of gold to its reserve. It was reported that gold reserves now account for 24% of Russia's international reserves due to sanctions. Around the end of March 2023, China and Brazil had also struck a deal to trade using their own currencies, ditching the dollar. Brazil is the biggest economy in Latin America. This would mean that they would be able to conduct massive trade and financial transactions directly using yuan and reais.
I suppose it would diminish our status as the reserve currency. It's also possible to have more than one large reserve currency, and there have been times when that was the case. And
Britain goes from the world's biggest creditor to become a net debtor as it underwent 2 world wars and economic mismanagement. Dollar usurped sterling's role until now. Sterling maintained its reserve currency status for at least half a century right after US GDP overtook Britain's at the end of the 19th century. This is mainly due to the increase in spending in Britain due to wars, while the US is the main supplier of all the armaments in war, resulting in Britain losing its status. According to the Bible, Russia will strike deals with different allies to invade Israel in the end time. Now, the deal has been struck to create an international reserve currency. So how does the decline of petrodollar all link back to what had been prophesied thousands of years ago? We know that according to biblical prophecy, that the invading armies will arrive from the far north, as seen in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and the book of Daniel, where Daniel also prophesied in the book of Daniel that Israel's end-time attackers are going to gather alliances and descend right from the north. Throughout history, the rise of every great nation has been marked by a common trend, the coupling of financial strength and military might. From the Romans to the Chinese dynasties and the Dutch to the British Empire, every nation that has enjoyed a period of greatness has followed this pattern. The United States, the greatest superpower of modern times, is no exception. Its rise to prominence in the world is due to its strong economy and military. Today, we are witnessing the emergence of another global superpower. To achieve this status, this nation must first gain a financial stronghold and then couple it with military might. This process includes forming alliances, establishing reserve currencies, and working towards fulfilling long-term strategic goals. This gradual decline in petrodollar is leading us towards the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. In my opinion, all the currency in this world will undergo the process of rising and falling. US currency is no exception, just that in the fall of US dollar, this will be more significant to us because we are currently in the end time timeline. We are seeing the fall in petrodollar happening in real time right now. Major events such as the formation of BRICS new reserve currency, etc. These would probably happen in a few years or decades down the road. Meantime, what we can do now is to stay alert to this transition and invest our money in real tangible assets such as gold, silver, and real estates, following in the footsteps of the big boys. So, which country from the north do you think will be the next global superpower, and when will it be fulfilled? We will also pray for the acceleration of global Aliyah, God's chosen nation, to be back to their homeland, Jerusalem. I would love to know more about your thoughts on these in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button below. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.